Yeah, so I wake up this morning and I see a message, and it's Access Rattblood. Are you here, Rattblood?
Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood.
And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Axis Rattblood, I see. All these Axis people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about
And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
Are you here, Rattblood?
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Access Rattblood.
Most abundant and successful king hero that we are all sitting with at this very moment. Are you willing to accept that as a truth? That you are a worthy man and that your penis is okay?
all these Axis people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. All these Axis people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now.
Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood?
Who the fuck is Access Rattblood?
I'm Access fucking Rattblood, bitch.
All these Axis people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about it.
I'm Access fucking Rattblood. Hello, friends and enemies of YouTube. Children of the Metaverse. Is I, the Axis. And, come to you with an impromptu show of observations. I've lost my faith in intelligent and informative information amongst the majority of my peer group. So I had to reach deep within myself, find something that actually felt like it wasn't a speculation, a lie, bullshit, or being parakeeted. And decided that I would share this observation. Now, I see channels that struggle with this concept of truth, and they get a peek sometimes behind the great matrix construct, and they pull back just for a moment, and they catch a glimpse of it, and the profoundness of it sets them further into their course of discourse, when the fact is, and the reasoning behind motivation is, what would one do if they were able to pull the veil back and they suddenly found that they were so insignificant in their existence that they paled in comparison to that which is solidified? And they suddenly discovered that they were no more real than a projected image in a potential artificial intelligent holographic psychular program. How humbling would that be to one, to find out that all these amazing things that you endeavor in, that you study and search and apply your energy and time to, and you're only catching a minor glimpse, just a peek into an unfathomable whole of possibilities and things that even the human body can't perceive because it's so far out of spectrum. And there you are, standing face to face with something that is so solidified that it was capable of not only creating this particular environment, but the many layers that are stacked on, in, through our existence. When I gleaned the edge, that was the realization that I came to. And I found that we are not, from my understanding and my observation, solidified. And when I mean solidified, I'm comparing our existence being like water compared to a tree. We strive to think and pursue the concept that we are so significant, and especially self significant, to the universe, that our singular ideal and pursuit overwhelms us to become the be all, end all of endeavors. And this is very much proven and very much clarified in the panels and the lectures that I've been to, the churches, the social clubs, the music industry. They run around and they find a sense of self gratification and occupied time with something that is gratifying to them. And that becomes their focus of energy. And the whole time that they're focusing on this minute little part of existence, which is insignificant to the whole, they feel bigger than life. They feel that whatever minor accomplishment, whether it's selling 2 million records or your auditorium is filled to the rim with people waiting to hear whatever lecture you're speaking. And that goes all the way down to someone who owns a platform. Well, they don't own it, they utilize it. And they suddenly take on this ideal that they are the message when they're not. They are conveyors of information. I'm a conveyor of information. I chose to take down safety protocols, concepts of right and wrong. I disassociate, continue to disassociate, and will continue to disassociate because I understand one thing. I am not the be all end all to deliver a message to people that are seeking or have a message that they want to share and want people to buy into and accept to be the absolute truth of things. When in actuality, if you break it down from the observer position of self, which I think a lot of people need to do, you will understand that most everything that you speak, and I'm talking an 80-20 percentage, is speculation. You're speculating. You are reaching out with wanting eyes and ears and a mind that is seeking an answer to something that is not solidified for your ability to comprehend. And when you start reaching these points by removing safety protocols, expanding yourself, um, going through fasts and meditations, and really pushing the mind and the body away from each other so that you can experience the lack of desire, the lack of want, the lack of need, and you surrender it and you become disassociated with it. And you remove all your focal points, things that you put your energy into, things that you believe, you hold on to, whether it be someone you love or whether it be a sacred item, a book, and even an ideal can consume your energy to the point where it renders you virtually useless in the message that you're transcending to people. Um, and in a profound way of saying this, it's like being sterile. You know, you might be able to perform the act, but the seed that you plant is a sterile seed that has no growth to it because you can't build a foundation on speculation. Now, with saying that, there has to come a rebound of information. Well, if that's the case, then what's the point? If that's the case, then why are we here? If that's the case, then why, what? You were given an opportunity in the grand scheme of all possibilities to experience pure energy and observation in what we'll call it the physical form. And you can interact and you can spend your entire life endeavoring into different potentials that you choose to invest your energy into. And whenever you have so many variables of people who believe that their message is more profound than the next, or their message holds something that is so groundbreaking that they have to, with all indulgence and energy, spread this message. When in actuality, you are an amazing thing in the fact that you even exist. And the environment that you're living in, unless you're living in the woods or self sufficient or on an island, is one that is catering to removing your observation of the natural state of things. And you watch as the onslaught of the great technological age comes upon us, this whole new concept of the Industrial Revolution headed by artificial intelligence and manipulated systems of control that no longer has any homage to the natural state of things, which is a self-sustaining system. And the more I watch people go insane, and that's what I call it, they're going insane. They are all losing their foothold on what they had considered to be a good basis for reality. When in fact, reality is subjective, but it does hold um, a common thread because of the nature of the word and how it's been used throughout history. Reality, and as far as I can give you an immediate description, is being self-aware of conscious and observing your environment with an interactive state that seems to be one that is residual and consistent. Beyond that, um, you beyond that, you really start dealing with other aspects of self, and in those aspects of self, you will lose sight of what is considered reality. And the further you go down that path, the more disconnected you will become, or with some cases, the more connected you'll become. But the problem with this is when it consumes your energy and it overtakes your state of being, just like a pharmaceutical has a spirit to it, just like the Arabic ideal of a jinn or a phone or the energy used to transmit Wi-Fi. And believe me, from my interactions, entities that aren't necessarily observed but felt and are present also travel these particular wavelengths, along with a few others that they've managed to uncover. And they're not going to be they the ones that provide this service. They the ones that so graciously, after discovering this plane of information, found it to be in their best interest to share and distribute. And as I watched them do this, and I've watched them grow with it ever since I started building computers back in '94, and how it's developed from a landline, which is a phone line, to Ether, to, and Ethernet should tell you a lot, to just straight Wi-Fi router, and then you have your cellular information. And these are all ways that energy is being transmitted. And that also is a way that entities, energy entities, are able to move freely through this ether. And sometimes instead of talking to the person, you're talking to the object that they are focusing all their energy on. Whether it be a meme, or whether it be looking at the Great Pyramids or temple structures, and they apply themselves to it as if they have some great secret that they have to unveil behind it. And that energy that overtakes them suddenly becomes the whole, almost the whole of them. And you have to address the focus of what they're focusing their energy on to even be able to communicate with them. And that's how far gone people get with their endeavors. I have learned, and it's a very difficult process, and sometimes it can even be messy, to start disassociating, to stop applying energy to things that are just speculation, or just hypothesis, or concepts that can't be proven. And even if they were proven, they would not change the state of our being. And to me, that is a division and a separation of the potential of our species. They give us a wonderful story to try and explain our being here. And believe me, there's so much more to what I'm trying to say on so many different levels. But it's difficult enough trying to communicate in just one aspect of self to the whole, more or less trying to communicate with an abundance of aspects of self, and how they are unified within one's being, which is something I discovered removing safety protocols and going to places that most consider forbidden, or they fear, or some places I've had to fight for my sanity just for what I experienced and what I comprehended or tried to comprehend. And they all left their mark, but they all left their gift. They left their gifts with me, and they still resonate. But when I deliver this simple observation now, this one that I'm about to deliver, wouldn't it be a disappointment that whenever you reach that finality, your demise, and you find yourself transcending this existence. And you found out that 99.9% of your endeavors were absolutely fruitless. And it's explained to you at that point that you should have been living and that you had that opportunity to remove the safety protocols. You had that opportunity to develop a understanding of how to exist in this environment with least resistance. And you present them with all of this amazing information that you gathered, and you're showing them, and you're trying to relate to their solidification that this was a life's endeavor, and it's nothing but a passing thought to them. And the grand scheme of things that you can't comprehend because you're not solidified. You're not in that state. You want to talk about understanding God and the Creator, and it plainly says that is an incomprehensible endeavor. You know, you're trying to comprehend the incomprehensible. You're trying to put into a book or books different concepts and ideals that you dedicate and devote yourself to, indoctrinate yourself with. And that goes for Satanism, uh, even Wicca, mysticism. These things are minor tools that can be used, but the minute you take them on and embody them, and you try to apply a comprehensible understanding of that which is incomprehensible, then you will spend your life in a state of seeking and almost a state of madness that has no solidification to it whatsoever. The message will always be more significant than the person delivering the message. The observation will be more profound to you through your eyes and understanding than it ever will to anybody that you try to explain it to. And that's with the coming onslaught of the technocratic society and technocracy, transhumanism. They've already got everything set in motion and have had, and we are an afterthought. The best you can do in this situation is sit perfectly still while the storm rages around you, and understand that the minute you try to pick up any type of position, whether it be resistant, opposition, or whether you agree with them in any shape, form, or manner, all you're doing is applying energy that would be best kept to yourself and used for your own development. And I'm not saying discard your brother, but I am saying don't indoctrinate your brother. And if you can't solidify it and you can't describe it, and you can't show its form and function and the mechanics in which they operate in depth by fractal, then you're giving half information. You're giving pieces and parts of glimpses of the thing that you seem to be profoundly taken by. Our design as a human being is limited to sensory perception. And I don't see a lot of schools out there that are teaching the mechanics of how to enhance sensory perception. Um, I don't see them with the endeavor who wishes to teach you the many aspects of yourself because they can't. That is an individual state that you will have to endeavor and take on if you dare go that far within yourself to discover that much about what's truly going on inside of you as a being. And at this point, it's very easy to see that there are those that uh, don't even have the presence of mind to address anything outside of what they've been taught and their learned experiences that have peaked out or plateaued, and they're content with that. Let's see. Hey, JG. Let's see what you got here. Illusionary truth effect, also known as the illusion of truth, describes how when we hear, so I've got this little icon in a way, with information repeated again and again, often comes to believe it to be, or believe it is true. Yeah, and good to have you, JT. And the free tools and tools. Alchemos, always. Um, thanks for being a welcoming host on your channel last night. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, origin is uncertain and unverified. And if you're lucky enough to surrender yourself, and that's all your wants, uh, desires, and you start disassociating with everything, you will start seeing things more or less in the manner of what they truly are. They are not attached to you. They are not extensions of you. They don't have anything to do with you. You will have and place energy into that object or that ideal or concept, and you will apply yourself to it to kind of solidify it. But in the state of this realm, it has nothing to do with you. A car has nothing to do with you. You know, even the clothes that you're wearing has nothing to do with you. They are just modifying factors to the state of existence that you're in this plane. And they've used this and weaponized it against us. They've even done it with philosophies, religions, uh, some of the more, and I even hate the word esoteric, and they teach you to hold on, to grasp. They teach you to fill yourself up with concepts and ideals and speculations and all the potentials and possibilities. But not once do they look at you with all seriousness and say, you do realize you came into this world naked and wanting, and when you leave this world, you're not taking anything with you. It all stays here. And then from here, and then knowing that perspective, what is valuable here that you would want to take with you when you transcend this state? You ever thought of it? Have you ever considered what truly holds any type of value when that transition comes? You know, fortunately for some infants that are born, they at least have a nurturer. Um, you know, whether it be the male, whether it be the female, whether it be the state, or whether it be loving parents, or any position, and out of an internal compassion that I'm seeing less and less of, they nurture that child until that child develops a sense of self, at which point it will rise against the nurturer to prevail on its own way and start to try and interpret its environment. And most will seek to uh, stay within the realm of pleasure or safety. They will keep themselves as bold as they may present themselves. They will stay within a state of safety. And with social media, they do have that. I encountered that yesterday on a live. And it wasn't even a interaction that had any true solidification to it. It was just a bold projection of a personality. And I'm not sure if it was kind of a personification of the whole in those states of mind, or whether this is a personal endeavor against what I have to say or what others have to say on my platform. And I will defend this platform and allow people to share their ideals, their concepts, their beliefs to the point where if you become disruptive, if you become a deterrent from growth, then know that I'm going to remove you. And there's no defining whether you're going to take measure of me as being good, evil, learned, dumb. I'm not going to give those weapons and tools to anyone. But I will take those perspectives, observe them, and use them as a defense against such people. And it's not even that my message can be conveyed or delivered as as powerfully and as broad as I would love to be able to communicate. And I'm even considering using music again and imagery to convey larger concepts of the whole, because I found that speaking has become uh, limited. And now that we have wordsmith artists who, and I'm not down on them, they are observant and they do bring information to the forefront, but they are observing each and every word that one speaks, to the point where even speaking to a fellow being is starting to be analyzed, dissected, um, wordsmith, uh, ridiculed, and it makes it difficult, especially whenever you have so many diverse states of self that you've discovered and unified to create a message that transcends the fruitless endeavor. It really makes it difficult, you know. So, and you got to forgive me because I'm doing the best that I can to relay information that is very difficult to just speak from one individual aspect. But I do hold firm, and I do hope that, if anything, you understand that when you go to comprehend the incomprehensible, expect that you're not going to get very far. That is a fruitless endeavor. You know, once something has presented itself and shown that it is incomprehensible, then you might just want to understand the nature in which it flows, and the frequency. And I'm talking the creator being incomprehensible, the one that pulled the universe into coherency, the one that developed and designed a self-perpetuating environment such as we have on this plane of existence, the Earth. You know, the one that also apparently um, created all the various life forms, including us, that we couldn't even begin to understand how to go about with nothing and create something as profound as life itself. And we squander it. We squander it on not the endeavor, and not even the introspective journey. We squander it on pursuing speculations and ideals and concepts that, even if you could prove even half of these endeavors of speculation, it wouldn't change the state of anything. It would not change you as a being. Now, your perception of what is may be altered, and potentially you may have a firmer grasp on the actual is of things, but that doesn't change your immediate environment and how you interact with it and what you have spent your entire life from the time you were born to this moment endeavoring in. And when you think of all of the wasted um, endeavors that are speculatory, that you couldn't solidify even if you wanted to, and you count the cost of that, and you realize that you never really lived in the first place. And for most, that's a position that they'll fight to the death to they'll fight to the death to hold on to that. They won't release for one moment the possibility that if they disassociate and remove all their energy binding endeavors, that they're going to find a lot more about this particular plane of existence in themselves than if they keep a pursuit that has only speculation and fruitless results. And I'm not even sure that there's going to be many that's even going to comprehend or catch that. You know, and I leave the panel open, and I always try to give the possibility that maybe somebody will panel up and share that understanding and be able to relay that message that you are not solidified. You're chasing ghosts when you're actually just a breath away from a ghost. You are a semi solidified being living cycles that are governed by the heavens and unseen energies, and you're scratching and clawing to get through the matrix, to get a peek at something that once you see it will bring you into such a state of humility because it's solidified. And the concept of what is beyond that solidification is even more profound. The less you feed to this construct, this matrix, the less it's got to reflect that. Thus, I've talked about the white room, and that's a potential for defense against artificial intelligence. If you give no energy to any particular endeavor, then it takes no part of you. It takes no energy from you. And that's thus removing the veil that separates you, which is many veils and many layers. But when you remove your energy from it and you give it nothing to feed back onto you, which is projected energy, then it starts to crumble because it has nothing to reflect back to you. You become the white room. You don't send, transmit, or receive information. You become completely disassociated. You become completely devoid of being any state or part of your localized environment or the whole, and then watch it slowly start to consume itself and reveal itself. And there's a lot of ability to help design and create uh, a potential, even your potential, a future potential. And I think that was lost. I think that was taken away. I think that it was at one time may have been even a school or a what would you call it, yoga class, or maybe some type of esoteric school, but it was more common. People were able to interact with this place without everything wanting and consuming your energy. And even the person who has the YouTube platform that tries to deliver a message, well, in reality, the message may intrigue for the moment, maybe something that you know kind of gives you a bit of dopamine, or even you feel coherently uh, in the same vibing space as that person, but it'll go away. It will not consume your life to the point where you will change your life, which is probably why most people are on YouTube. You get to hear all these grandiose ideals of life-changing events, and do this or do that or study this or study that, and they hear it, and it's a wonderful passing notion to them. And I'm sure that some even try to pull the will to endeavor into these workings, but they don't. Not from my observation. They really just passive observers, and it's a shame. There's nothing I can do for them or anybody else as long as they're going to endeavor into the fruitless, and they make this place the matrix it is. People talk about getting free of the matrix and being able to be out of their system of control, and have the veil removed. Well, I'm telling you that most of you aren't prepared for that type of reality. And for you to consider yourself trapped or imprisoned by the matrix, step back and think of how much energy you apply to the matrix, what you call the matrix. Every day, you touch a phone, you turn on a TV, you drive a car, you use a telephone. I mean, all these things are allowing your energy to help build the matrix. So therefore, you are um, you're a part of the matrix yourself, and you feed it. You feed it with the concept that you might have a bit of truth or an observation or an ideal that seems so profound, or you may spend your day trying to figure out how to escape the matrix. And the way that you escape the matrix is through disassociation. Because everything that you do,
Yeah, so I wake up this morning and I see a message, and it's Access Rattblood.
sorry about that. I know it's kind of a redundant thing, but it's one that needs to be, to my notion, brought to the forefront. If you're going to try to escape from something, or you're going to try to tear something down and reveal it for what it is, then don't be putting bricks in it and building it up. Don't apply anything that would help solidify or allow the matrix to be stronger or more reinforced by your actions and energies. And with that, I hope that you get a better glimpse of what I'm talking about, disassociation. There's already a constant that was set in motion long before we found ourselves here, and we live upon it. We ride it, and we cannot add to it or take away from it. We can manipulate it and turn it into a different state, but it'll always return to its natural state. Whereas the matrix is something that was developed by the mind of man, and it's his way of trying to mimic something that already exists and that exists naturally, and it's self-perpetuating. Sorry about that. I have to do a little occasional things to sustain the body. But when you're given the ability to completely disassociate yourself and no longer apply energy to what we call the matrix, then at that point, you're probably going to get a better view of what the matrix actually is. And it's almost 8 billion people, so we're told, projecting a reality and holding it up with concepts and ideals. And it just so happens that there are an elite class that, to my notion, understand and are able to read the heavenly bodies and the luminaries and the energy, and they know when to make moves and when to scare the masses so that they will project and reinforce various areas of the matrix in a system of control so that they can continue forward with their um, agenda. And most just play a part, even though they think that they're exposing and trying to reveal the matrix and how to get out of it. By doing that, they're actually reinforcing it and adding to it, projecting energy to it. And if you take a second just to stop and observe how much energy you're putting into the matrix each day, then you will start to see that you are the generator that creates the projection of what we consider are to be our reality. And we will far remove ourselves from the true constant and the true persistent. It took me a considerable amount of effort to understand that my participation and the energy I applied to being here was feeding the construct itself, the matrix. And the more that I traveled inward and tried to learn the introspective state of self and the disassociation, because I wasn't taking anything inward with me, just the same as death, you don't take anything with you. Or when you start to introspect and observe the inner self, you don't take anything with you. It is the absolute you being discovered and revealed to yourself. And upon that, I was able to easily disassociate. And I think that's a great key and first step to being able to endure and deal with the matrix as each person understands it, because they apply their struggle, their hopes, dreams, desires, um, even their needs become projected energies into the construct, the matrix, and therefore they're creating it with each thought. Pam, thank you, Pam. Yeah, I'm doing a little better. I just thought I would try and allay a little information as best that I can to give some type of solidification to people understanding this is not the be all end all. And when you apply ego, you're creating a part of a construct. When you apply any part of yourself and any energy that helps develop that which we call the matrix, know that you are creating the matrix. You are reinforcing the matrix. And any energy and participation that you put forth that isn't a disassociation in a observer perspective just helps reinforce it. Just checking Pam out here. Yeah, I had a particularly wonderful panel last night, and all it took was a couple people to project their contempt, and it's self-contempt. They're contented. They contempt themselves, and they try to um, destroy the small circle of information we were sharing. And now I'm actually predatorily seeking to disrupt them. And I know that may be against a lot of people's ideals of right and wrong, or don't stoop to that level, or but once you got my attention, then you got my attention, and I will address it as it needs to be. I don't have a lot to offer outside of the platforms that I have, and YouTube being one of them. And just like your backyard, sometimes you got to clean it up. But those people are also, to my notion, the same type of people that without awareness help build the confines of the matrix. They add their opinions, their ideals, and their energy, and they create uh, a resistance against you as a being, and that solidifies itself in your localized environment, and they have created, though it be negative, a part of the matrix. I don't think that many people, because I haven't heard the proper information being fed back to me, being able to disassociate and maturely understand with some type of comprehension, not applying to the matrix or seeing beyond it. It's absolutely amazing, because it's almost like having a box full of, we'll call them vapor life forms, and they're all living inside of this box, trying to find some awareness of themselves and trying to understand what they are. And then on that one particular journey, someone catches a glimpse of something outside of the box, and it wasn't a vapor, it was a solid, and it was so massive, and it was so profound. And then they want to come back and share this little bit of information with the willing, those that will listen. And thus, there you have created a Bigfoot scenario or a Loch Ness monster or UFOs or whatever it may be. When in actuality, it's been here the whole time. And just because you became aware of it or caught a glimpse of it, that just makes you a conveyor of information. Maybe my message is skewed tonight, but I felt it necessary, um, because I'm going to separate the sheep and the cattle, so that those of us who can disassociate ourselves and apply our energy to something more than disruption, chaos, uh, and just being straight up asinine. It's going to be a part of my objective to disillusion these people. And it's not an attack. It's not retaliatory, as in the sense of uh, waging a war that they would understand. But it is a removal of their ability to interject themselves until they become mature enough in the life experience to know better. I'd hoped that I could have put that person away and could have continued experiencing a path of disassociation, because that allows all possibility. So people just aren't interactive enough in a constructive way. So they'll get what they give. And there's a link. There's a link to the panel up here. And in this state, I can ramble on about my observations and my experiences, which none of you will ever know, because you aren't me and I'm not you, and those are my experiences. And I can do the best that I can to try and get you to understand the disassociation is the removal of the matrix, and any applied energy helps create it. But I am with waiting anticipation to engage these disruptors. You know, I'd had to do this once before, and I find no resistance in doing it again. I used to keep a song list, and moments of such as what I'm going through now, I would play a song, but I cleared the list out and figured I would endeavor on making a whole bunch of new music to fill that list up with. And I do have the foundation set for, I actually have a few songs written, but I don't have the vocals and they're not mastered. So you have to forgive me for being human at this moment and trying to sustain myself and entertain and inform you guys at the same time. So just bear with me. It will be painless and over with soon. Okay, there we go. You know, there's a small circle of channels and platforms that I go to, and they're not very extensive. There's like 4 or 5 of them. And I really enjoy going to these channels, and it's almost being like amongst like-minded people. And then somebody will come in and completely disrupt the energy, the flow of communication, or even directly objectify an individual that is part of the conversation that we're having. And so, excuse me, sometimes conversation is all we have to relay information back and forth to each other. And now I'm on a quest to once again set out on the metaverse and disrupt the disruptors and remove them for the sake of information. And most of them are cowardice. I mean, they find an opportune time to suddenly engage their asinine behavior. Anyone passing off fake knowledge has a skewed respect for truth. Yes, that is true, especially whenever Their knowledge is spoon-fed to them. Whenever that knowledge is without foundation and was written by the hand of obviously man to direct your energy or to entertain your mind and momentarily take you and your being on a fanciful endeavor of thought. You know, I do know that if I leave my channel up and open for a particular period of time, may potentially catch the fish that I'm looking for. And at this point in time, I am damn willing to address them. I am damn willing to reveal them for the naked child that they are and the lack of substance that they actually consist of. And I can watch them struggle and try and grasp onto any type of emotional security just to try and save some type of self-respect and dignity. So if you think that I've come to be a peaceful or an accommodating host this evening, then you are absolutely wrong. That is not what I'm here for. But I have no quarrel with um, those that have not posed themselves to be a disruptive inconvenience to the flow of energy on my channel. You know, we have a dignified thing that we try to protect on this channel. And at this point, and at this hour, and at this moment, my panel is definitely well open and inviting to all opposition. So I don't think that they have the fortitude to address, nor do I think that they have the dignity to come to my panel and address. I see them more as cowards of opportunity. But I watched Ian uh, go through a situation that was similar to this, but his was on a much larger scale. And he found his niche, and he's got his motion and his message, and I can appreciate that. You know, I've always had a spot for Ian as a friend, and he was at least fortunate enough to be able to address on an even playing field the interlopers, the disruptors, the ignorant, the unlearned, And I do so hope they are listening. And I do so hope that maybe by some strange eon, they'll hit that link and come join me for a little verbal insight. So I don't expect it to happen. Therefore, it leaves me in an awkward position. But my channel at this point in time is definitely receptive to opposition. They talk about drama panels and noise. Well, I have an interesting way of crawling inside of a person's mind like a worm, doing a half twist and lodging myself in there and becoming a part of the neuro interface that they are and exposing the naked, bare child that they are. And they are like screaming children unattended, seeking attention, begging for a moment of recognition. And now that I've opened the platform up this evening to such endeavors, doesn't seem that they're so bold now. Maybe I will have to chase them down. But I would rather it be here on neutral ground. Yeah, thank you, Alfie. Man, there are some lurkers waiting, anticipating, wanting that drama. Alfie, you definitely put your link to your channel, man. You gave a really insightful show, uh, especially when it comes to frequency and energy and vibration. That was a good show, and it was well worth listening to, and I appreciated it, man. Very informative. So if you're not subscribed to Alchemos83, you need to be. Um, I'm watching him develop into a very articulate individual who's trying to share the insight of the workings of this place. Yeah, that's where I caught it from, and that's how I wound up coming in. Thought it was a very informative. Absolutely, brother. Thanks for having me on your channel. Um, that it was very pleasant there. It was very chill and laid back, and I really enjoyed that. It's a nice experience. I don't know if you've had any problems with the uninvited influences that come with being a host or operating a panel or a show, but sometimes you have to take a stand to defend the peace, and I'm not pulling punches. I'm definitely ready to engage these children at the core of their being. And as foul as this may be, maybe they will delete themselves from YouTube and go read a book, get an education, learn something outside of social disruption on multimedia platforms. And like I said, my door's open. Link is there. I'm here. You got something to say. You've got a disagreement. You've got some type of objection to what I'm doing on this panel, then please hit that link. And for the lurkers, um, you're more than willing to venture into the streets of YouTube and allow them to know that the arena is open. Um, I stand naked and cerebral at this point, waiting for the endeavor. But the curious part is I'm not even receiving companionship on this panel from even those that generally frequent these panels or my panel or this platform. It's just kind of strange, kind of odd. Because it's open to anyone. And I won't be here all night. I'm not going to spend and waste any amount of energy and time more than what is necessary to address these disruptors. But I do have time and would engage forward progressive conversation and anyone that wanted to panel up and share some wisdom, insight, some potential, some possibility, maybe even something that could be beneficial to other life forms. Yeah, either way, Alchemist, you definitely you definitely sent across a great message, and it was very it was an honor to be able to see. And I did share your channel link out, which I will share your channel link out more. Yes, absolutely. Put your link out there, man. I think it would be beneficial for anyone who studies or has any comprehension of how energy works and how it affects us and our environment, and is probably most likely very heavily ingrained within the core of our being. And I think there's a great direction you took with that. And please don't take tonight's endeavor as to be something that I'm going to constantly pursue. I do have some information that I do want to share, and in the next few days, once I organize it into a coherent thought that I can relay to you, I will. But I'm not going to cater to disruption. I'm not going to allow interlopers with ill intent to disrupt the message or even messages or the display or exchange of information that we share here. And that, Fools and Fools, Alchemos, I mean, Pam, you guys are JG, The Freak, I mean, lots of very good, wonderful people. And I don't think that they deserve to be subjected to malevolent or disruptive people when we're trying to share a concept or even just remotely enjoying each other's company. I actually physically felt the it was almost a shock to the system, because I have kept myself in a place of um, non-disruptive environment. I have a non-disruptive environment, and when it was disrupted, it really set off a whole new set of. It was almost. It was almost physically. It was physically painful, and it allowed me to realize how close to being able to experience energy instead of the representation in physical form of what's being represented. And whenever you take the concept of us just being beings of energy and you remove the body and you're dealing with just that state of energy, and if it's that disruptive with a mouth and protruding limbs to interact, just imagine how stifling that energy would be if it was outside of a body. And while you're trying to endeavor into new states and transcendental uh, possibilities, to have something on the verge of insanity as a pure energy form encounter you in a completely different dimensional space, that to me is the mark of something that is far beyond insane. It's malevolent. And if it is inhabiting their being while we're here at this point, then it will either inhabit or it will consume them when they transcend this state of being. And now that's something completely new that I have to address. Instead of the person, I have to address that which is controlling them, that which is consumed them and has directed their energy, or potentially what they are by nature. And it's just fortunate enough that I was able to develop skills and understandings of how to speak and deal with uh, energies that aren't necessarily uh, native to their vessel, the one that they occupy. But apparently they only endeavor at their convenience, which makes them even more of a hedonistic type of energy. And even the good, um, the more pleasant energies, at times of necessity, even they reserve themselves. And it's almost as if they will they will be willing participants in sharing information that is advantageous to people at their convenience, which means that their endeavor is a half-ass endeavor. It means they are not truly convicted by what they say and what they believe. But anyhow, I've been on here for almost 2 hours, and apparently, um, I'm going to have to track and trace them down, which shows the level of cowardice that I'm dealing with here. But I appreciate uh, Alchemos. Your channel is always welcome to be advertised and promoted. I have no problem with that. And please do at any time. Pam, it's always a pleasure to have you on panel or in chat. Fools and Tools, you go, girl. You go, man. You are an inspiration. Um, JG, I hope that you can come back uh, on a better note that I have to offer, or others on panel may have to offer. To Freak, thank you for stopping by. I'd really like to get on a panel with you sometime. I really enjoy your approach and your position, and I think that we have a lot that we could discuss that could potentially be beneficial to us. And Maggot, you're always a welcome sight here, always. So I at least came on and opened the panel up to allow the interlopers and the disruptors um, their time. And remember, any type of energy you give to the construct, it will be used in the construct and by the construct. I hope that you all have a wonderful night. Um, I hope that many great things come your way. You all deserve the greatest of what life has to offer for what life is. Thank you, Pam. And you're always welcome, Pam. I just wanted to, if they really wanted a voice and they really wanted to step into that arena, I wasn't going to deny that to them. So their endeavor was a fruitless one, and obviously they don't have the integrity to even uh, continue with that type of behavior and disruptive mannerism. And know that any guest that comes here, I consider to be an extension of my family on the metaverse. And I'm not going to allow my guests to be attacked, demeaned, or belittled. And if you do take that position, I have no hesitation whatsoever in banning you and pursuing you and exposing you. So on that, and Fools and Tools, thank you. Much love to you. On that, that's my position. That's where I stand, and they can't say that I didn't give them the opportunity, because they had the opportunity. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Many blessings, and Axis out.